Oh man, oh man, oh man. So today Tesla released their Q1 production and delivery numbers in which they produced 441,000 vehicles and delivered 423,000. Despite 423,000 deliveries being a pretty decent beat, breaking record after record, quarter after quarter, and definitely beating the street consensus, I will focus more on production in this video than I will on deliveries, because production is really, from an investor standpoint, what is the key thing to highlight as far as their trajectory to 20 million vehicles, hopefully sometime by 2030, definitely between 2030 and 2035. So if we take a look here, Tesla says that in the first quarter, we produced over 440,000 vehicles and delivered over 422,000. We continue to transition towards a more even regional mix of vehicle builds, including the Model S and the Model X vehicles in transit to Europe, Middle East, and Africa, as well as Asia Pacific. Here, Tesla also highlights that they will be hosting their Q1 earnings call on Wednesday, April 19th. So if we dive into the numbers just a little bit, like I said, I'm highlighting just production, not deliveries in this view. Of course, we already know they produced 440,000 units. From a year-over-year perspective, that's a growth rate of 45% versus Q1 of 22. And on a quarter-over-quarter perspective, it's roughly flat, 0.25% higher, which is actually pretty bullish considering that Q1 typically and seasonally is not the best quarter for Tesla. Whether it's the Chinese New Year, whatever it might be, Q1 usually after the holidays isn't the best quarter for automakers. But the fact that Tesla was not only able to stay relatively flat quarter over quarter, but actually kind of beat slightly is pretty bullish in my opinion. So if we focus a little further down here from an annualized perspective, that 440,000 units over 4 quarters would equate to about 1.8 million units, which again, that's also bullish considering that in the Q4 earnings call, Tesla and Elon stated that their goal for all of FY23 was going to be the 1.8 million units. So the fact that they're already there from an annualized perspective as of Q1 is pretty darn bullish considering that they're going to continue to ramp. The exponential growth curve is actually something that we're seeing Tesla execute on over the last several quarters, several years. So 1.8 million units in FY23 is already starting to kind of look like a bear case in my opinion. Again, a lot of things need to still be executed. Continued ramp of not only Berlin, Giga Austin, which if I may note, today as a matter of fact, Giga Austin also released their update that they have achieved 4,000 units per week as well. Now, a couple weeks ago, I forget if it's a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Berlin had updated that they had achieved 5,000 units per week. And now that we finally got confirmation of where Austin is at 4,000 units per week, that's an annualized rate of about 200,000 vehicles per year. If we add that with the 250,000 annualized vehicles per year from Berlin, these two new factories are already producing roughly 500,000 units per year. Add that to the 700-ish, 800-ish thousand units that Shanghai produces and the 600,000 units that Fremont produces, you're getting pretty darn close to that 2 million unit mark. So currently, where all factories stand at their capacity, they're pretty much already hitting the mark of the 1.9 to 2 million units per year. So pretty bullish. Again, I think from Tesla's standpoint, they want to play it conservative. Totally understandable. I would probably do the same. But it's good to see that this early in the year, we're already starting to see that target become a heck of a lot more achievable. So if we go back to the analysis really quick, we just went over how Q1 annualized adds up to about 1.8 million units. So if we had the target of 2 million units flat per year for Tesla, on average, the quarterly growth rate would have to be about 8.5% to hit that mark. So pretty doable in my opinion, because if you compare it to FY22 that I have here in this bottom table, on average, if you take a look at, despite all the force majeure events that happened, the Shanghai shutdown, all these different things, on average, per quarter, you can say that Tesla grew at an 11 to 12% rate last year. So 8.5% I would say is fairly conservative considering that you have 2 new factories that are ramping at a pretty aggressive rate. So I do think it's looking pretty darn obtainable at this point. Again, a lot of things still need to be executed, but they're well on track to hopefully not only obtain 2 million, but even surpass it. I would go as far as say that they, at this point, might have the ability to surpass it, but a lot of things kind of need to go right. So let's play conservative and say 1.8 is starting to look a heck of a lot more realistic. So with that, I just wanted to finish with this tweet from James Stephenson at I cannot underscore enough. I'll link his Twitter down below. Highly recommend you follow him. He also has a YouTube channel. I'll put it down below as well. But basically highlighting and visually and tangibly showcasing how exponential growth is something that we're really starting to see with Tesla. I mean, we've kind of been seeing that over the last several quarters, but now it's like really tangible to see that Tesla is not messing around. They are aggressively growing. So anyway, here's a trailing 12-month total of global deliveries. And so you can see how Tesla is now at a roughly 1.5 million delivery mark. So pretty amazing that folks are still kind of seeing Tesla as a typical automaker, despite them mathematically proving otherwise. Anyway, with that said, super proud of the Tesla team. It's pretty amazing to see how they're continuing to just fire on all cylinders and not slowing down. And I look forward to see how we are at the end of the year. Really, at this rate, I don't see anything slowing down. Obviously, macroeconomic issues can still continue to slow and plague growth and development at Tesla. But even despite what we've gone through over the last 12 to 36 months, Tesla has continued to prove doubters wrong. So I look forward to seeing where we are in Q4 and how we've not only surpassed, hopefully, in my opinion, the 1.8 million target that Tesla had for themselves, but hopefully eclipsing that 2 million unit production rate. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but nevertheless wanted to hop on here to talk about this huge milestone that it seems like every quarter Tesla continues to just kind of break new milestones, break new records, and I'm really enjoying this ride that Tesla's taking us on. So thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.